Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and last fall I was on the hunt for Omaha's best Cubano, and I was looking all over the place, taking all kinds of recommendations, and I specifically remember this one message that I got that said, hey, have you heard of this place called Nocturnal Eats? And I had not, but that message put it on my radar. And then I started seeing pictures of like awesome burgers coming out of this place. And then the wonderful folks from Terrible Gerald's had a social media post that was like, we just ate here. This was so good. And that was it. That was like, okay, that's it. I have to try this place. I came and I got the Cubano. I was sold right then, but I've been back. I've had the Philly. I've had burgers. Nice. This place is legit. And as great as it is, I still think it's being slept on a little bit. So I'm here to try and get the word out today because people need to hear about this food truck. Joining me today are Sarah Czaplewski, who is the one who sent me that message last fall, and the chef of the food truck that we're talking about today, Preston Vaughn. We're talking about Nocturnal Eats.
Ooh.
Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey,
what's up, man?
Thanks for having us, Dan. We appreciate it.
I know that you guys have gotten a lot more notoriety and, you know, a bigger customer base since you moved into Trucks and Taps off 108th and Q a couple months ago, and we'll talk about that. But just in case somebody's hearing about Nocturnal Eats for the first time, or maybe they haven't had a chance to have your food yet, how would you describe the concept to someone who's hearing about it for the first time?
I'd say it's an ever-changing menu. I mean, I do a lot of a lot of different types of burgers. It's just not your plain old cheeseburger, though I do have that. But I kind of throw a whole cabal of different toppings on top of the burgers, you know?
A whole cabal.
Wow.
I like that. I've never heard that before. Yeah, I'm stealing that one.
We also do breakfast. Our breakfast is what I really care about the most. You know, it's the most important meal of the day, in my opinion, and I don't eat enough of it. And
He doesn't even eat breakfast.
yeah, so when I do get a chance, I like to throw down, whether it's, you know, chili killies or just your plain old hash browns and eggs or whatnot.
Yeah. Phillies, Cubanos. What else? We'll tell about the concept, I guess.
Well, I guess the concept was I moved here from Denver, Colorado in 2020, middle of the pandemic. A lot of things weren't open. A lot of restaurants weren't open at the time. I moved here and I noticed right away that there wasn't a lot of late night food, a lot of late night options, you know, other than Taco Bell and, you know, drive through.
That's true.
And I kind of wanted to change that, you know, and I'm used to eating, you know, cheesesteaks late at night, good old cheeseburgers, fried chicken sandwiches. And I didn't see that a lot here, other than I think it's Zaytuna. I think they're the late night truck.
Yeah, they park their truck downtown.
Yeah.
Amazing Mediterranean.
So good.
Right. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to take what they're doing, but I want to be there to play, you know. I want to come out and party. And that was the original concept, you know. And last year we were kind of just driving around. We got kicked out of a few places. Got kicked out of a PetSmart once for setting up. Yeah. I guess we should have called ahead of time, but that's on us. That's on me.
We've learned some things.
That's for forgiveness, not permission.
Right,
exactly.
there you go.
I tried to give him a sandwich. He just refused. Told me to leave.
His loss.
Right.
But really the late night concept, I think, started with him moving here, and then also me with things ending late at night for our professions. We just wanted something else, another option.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's how it started. It's been like a year and a half. So,
yeah. Last year we were just kind of figuring out what we wanted to do. You know, I didn't know if I wanted to do burgers. I did a lot of like catfish sandwiches, and I think I did pork steaks. I did types of weird stuff, just trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. You know, the late night thing was okay for a while. I think we got our start over at Noma, over in North Omaha.
Shout out to Noma.
Just was doing that a few nights a week. Just, you know, seeing what worked, seeing what failed, seeing the hours that people, you know, how late could I sell a cheesesteak? What's too early for breakfast, you know? What's too late for breakfast, things like that. Found our way over to Trucks and Taps, and yeah, we're really working on our home base right now.
Yeah. It's a little earlier.
Yeah.
Well, but no.
I think that's something that is unique to food trucks and kind of gives you an advantage is as you're kind of trying to feel this market out, you can make changes and make adjustments. Like a full-scale restaurant, if you're changing your hours all the time or, you're making significant changes to the menu, like that can be a little bit more difficult to do. But if you're a food truck and you guys have like a chalkboard menu and everything. Like, it's real easy to make adjustments or say, you know what, maybe this late night thing isn't working, but we're going to lean hard into breakfast, so we're going to go more breakfast hours or vice versa. Like, I think the food truck kind of allows you that malleability, right?
Yeah, it's really cool that we could like literally do whatever we want.
Yeah.
I sold out Saturday night. I think I had one cheesesteak left. And if I was to open on Sunday, I could have just went to Restaurant Depot and just like, what do I want to do today? Do I want to just do a menu based around s'mores? Or I want to do hot dogs? Like, what do I want to do? I could do whatever I want. And it's really cool that I could do that, that I could just try whatever I want with no repercussions really other than somebody saying, that's gross. Try again, buddy.
No one's ever said that, but knock on wood.
Okay, so a couple clarifying points that I want to make. Just as we get started, if anyone's listening or watching this and they're just like, I need to experience this food. You guys, first of all, follow Nocturnal Eats on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. That's where you guys will put updated information on where you're going to be. Usually going to be at Trucks and Taps, which is the former Sonic Drive-In off 108th and Q. Awesome place, bunch of food trucks lined up there.
Yes.
It's very cool. And, yeah, the food truck is called Nocturnal Eats, but you guys are typically open for lunch.
Right.
You're typically open for dinner and also brunch on Sundays, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Although, again, that can all change because it's malleable. It can shift based on how you need it to.
Right.
So I'm really interested, especially, you guys coming in from the outside and saying, hey, there's no eats at night. What are some of the things that you learned about Omaha diners the last couple of years? Like, is there a thirst for late night eats, or are we weird and we like to just eat our lunch and dinner at 5:30? Like, what are some insights that you've realized?
I realize people are just hungry all times of day. It doesn't matter what time it is. People are hungry.
Especially after some drinks.
Yes.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time out in Benson last year, too. And the amount of people that just came up and just were hungry, just guys on skateboards. Yeah, I got a skateboard back to Council Bluffs. Like, how? Well, here's your 2 bags of food, bud. I do believe that Omaha is a beef-centric city, kind of revolves around, your burgers, steaks, and all that. I crush with the cheesesteaks more so than I thought I would. Yeah. I sell way more cheesesteaks than I sell anything, and it's kind of surprising to me, and I get a lot of good feedback on that. As far as late nights, we haven't stayed out crazy late yet. I think there was a few 2-3 a.m. nights last year over at I think that was Omaha Native Days or whatever.
Oh, Native Omaha Days.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an experience for sure. Did a lot of barbecue that weekend, and that's the people of Omaha love their barbecue. They respect it a lot here. If I put out something bad, somebody let me know right away.
Yeah, I think so.
But, we're ever evolving. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do. I make many mistakes a week. I ran out of propane during an event last week. It's pretty embarrassing to go out and
that's fun.
Refund somebody their money. Hey, sorry, I ran out of propane. Can't feed you at this moment. But just learning, ever learning.
So the first time that I visited the truck, I got a chance to chat with you a little bit, Preston, and you kind of said, what I'm looking to do, I love late night diner food, but I want to do it in more of an elevated way. Like not just, slapping burgers together or, throwing steak into a bun and calling it a Philly cheesesteak, but I want to do it right.
Right.
What draws you to that style of cooking and that cuisine?
I worked in that cuisine for a little while when I lived in St. Louis. A lot of the diners back home in St. Louis, man, I love. Some of them shut down, but, it makes me happy. You go out to a concert late at night, or you go out to the bars, hang out with your friends, go to a baseball game, football game, or whatnot. You're a little hungry afterwards, so you go to the diner, and it just brings back a lot of memories for me. Makes me, who's not happy at a diner late night,
right.
And so that's kind of what I want to seek out maybe in the future to do, is one of those just late night establishments that a lot of happy people come in and leave out big old smile in the face, One of my favorite dishes of all time is called the St. Louis Slinger. It's just like a pile of hash browns, covered in red chili or your green chili back in Colorado. Couple eggs, a hamburger, like it's a big old pile of slop, but man, just like thinking about it, I'm like so happy right now. I think that
sounds
dinner.
Amazing. I think that needs to come to the menu sometime.
For sure. Oh, it definitely will.
We'll see.
Definitely will.
And he always does his specials,
Yeah.
I think his culinary experience, in different places has helped with the specials. They're all different and unique and, crazy. People don't expect them, which I think is really exciting and new. So, yeah.
And what's your role on the truck, Sarah?
Oh, geez. I don't even know. No, I'm just kidding. This kind of also spearheaded with me. I don't even know how to really talk about it, but musicians late at night were always saying, like, we have nowhere to go. Okay, we have nowhere to go. Sarah, don't you want a venue? It's like, yes, that's my end goal. I want to start building a clientele, and I want to build, a base of people that, can come to our establishment and just love it, So how does that start? Well, started kind of with the food truck, right? So I guess some ideas have been mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
The Market Street Philly is my idea.
Really? Wow.
Well, here's the deal. I wanted to do Phillies because that's where we met, was in Denver at a Philly bar. I was working at a Philly bar. And he came in with, his resume was too good for our Philly bar. I mean, he shouldn't have worked there, to be completely honest. But he came in, he's like, hey, I'm just looking for a part-time gig. Can I work? Yes, please. So he was working at a couple really nice establishments in Denver. And so that's where we met. I wanted to do kind of an ode to where we met in Denver. So that's where the the Philly came.
Street Philly
yes, and he added like the St. Louis flair, I guess you would. I don't know. With the cream cheese, right?
Yeah.
That's something that he did.
Yes, an ode to a restaurant that I went to a lot. Another late night diner, Cicero's, back in St. Louis. It closed, but Cicero's. That's my ode to them. A little cream cheese on there, just it's kind of like a glue. Keep everything intact. If you buy a sandwich, you set it down, forget about it for half an hour. It's still warm because of the cream cheese.
But yeah, so I think idea-wise, and I wanted to showcase his talent. I mean, like, he's so talented. And I mean, this is like burgers and stuff your burgers are incredible, but like his dinners, his incredible things that he creates is really top-notch. So I'm excited to show people that. Yeah.
I think you do more than that. Your role is, our social media.
I
you
don't
help
do
me out
that
a lot.
well.
You also
I'm
keep
learning.
me grounded. Sometimes I might want to do something insane on the truck food-wise.
Yes.
She's like, you can't do that.
Right.
What's an example of that?
Oh, that's actually a great point.
Yes, give me an example. I'm so interested.
I had a burger one time. It was a special at a restaurant that I worked at, but I made mac and cheese, threw some hatch green chilies in it. Took that, put it on a little parchment paper and whatnot, and froze it, and then breaded it up.
Oh, God.
I know.
Made barbecue sauce out of Dr. Pepper, a little bacon, tossed it on there, and then I would fry this cheese puck to order and put it on there. And I don't have time to do that right now.
Yeah.
Did you serve it with a defibrillator?
Right.
Have the ambulance on standby?
Exactly.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah,
though. I'm not going to
But I
lie.
said,
crazy good, but
let's reel it in here, bud, because that's a little extreme. No, and also I feel like maybe customer, I don't know. I really want people to feel like welcomed when they come to the truck. I want people to feel like they had a great experience. I want to touch base with them. I love to meet people. I mean,
she's definitely the face of our establishment right now.
I don't know about that.
I can't do it. Well, I'm really quick with people. What do you want to eat? Perfect. And then I go cook it. Her, she can spend a little more time and, be caring with people. And I like that a lot. That helps us out.
Oh, that's nice.
So we've talked a little bit about burgers, but I want to get into it more because I do think the cheesesteak is definitely one of the highlights of the menu. And you mentioned you've been selling those like crazy. But the burgers,
yeah,
you make a good burger, man. So when you think like Nocturnal Eats burger, like what defines a Nocturnal Eats burger?
Oh, man, I just think of – so I'm kind of insane in my brain.
Okay, all right.
Whenever I think of these burgers, I worked at a place in Benson, a brewery. It's actually called Benson Brewery. They had a burger of the week. So every week I had to come up with a brand new burger. And I would just go into like the squirrel brain and, I'll put this on the burger. I'll put this on a burger. Think of a burger as like a vacation. This burger, it's ground beef made in the Midwest. Where you want to go? You want to go to the Caribbean. You want to go California. You want to go here. What do you want to do with this burger?
I've never heard that before. Think of a burger as a vacation.
Yeah, I got a squirrel brain, buddy. I told you I'm crazy.
That's awesome.
It does work, though.
Yes.
So, one of the I have, whenever we came up with this concept, and this is like where she really helps me out with, I had like 100 items that I wanted to sell.
I think more. Honestly, more.
And she's like, okay, buddy, well, I've got these 3 little squares that I could vinyl for these menus.
I didn't say 3.
Or 30, I'm sorry.
Look.
But, she helps me hammer it down. She's like, well, if you want to do a special, you're going to have to write it on the chalkboard yourself. So I hardly do specials.
I
did
not say that.
One of the burgers that I'll be doing in the next couple of weeks, I don't know what to call it yet. It's going to be like roasted poblano strips.
Well, where are you taking them
street
on
corn.
vacation?
Oh, where I'm taking them.
Yeah, tell them where you're taking them.
Let's say south, south of the border. Guadalajara.
Ooh.
We're going to do.
Specific.
Wow, here we go.
Some roasted hatch chilies or roasted poblanos, little street corn, queso fresca, lime crema, maybe some pickled onions on there.
Okay.
So
boom.
good. Yeah.
That's a good vacation right there.
Yeah, and a margarita.
It's the life of poblano. That's it. That's the name of the burger.
We just got it. Yes. I love it.
In real time.
I
Nice.
came up with a Hawaiian burger, and we're still working on it, but I really wanted to do Spam on a burger. Whether
He really did.
I grind it up and mix it with the ground beef or just, dice it up. Nice little topping on top.
Mm-hmm.
Some pineapple relish or something. But, yeah, that's how I look at things is where's the end goal of this burger? Where do I feel like going today?
Now, something that I do want to point out about your burgers is I feel like a lot of places can just, they just focus all on the toppings. And they just throw a bunch of stuff on a burger. But the patty itself is just like whatever because it's covered up with a bunch of stuff.
Right.
It's like a pizza that has 18 different toppings. You barely even taste the sauce or the dough. You have no idea what quality the cheese is. Your burgers are very good themselves. Like you said, if somebody wants to come in and get the plain Jane burger, they might be missing out a little bit because that's not all the fun that you can have. But they're going to have an excellent burger. It is juicy. It's well seasoned. It's big.
Thank you.
So I just want to point that out. And then another thing I want to make very clear is obviously on a food truck, you can't make everything yourself. That's difficult. But you are when I came in and got the Cubano, you were talking to me and you roasted the pork yourself. You made the pickles. I had chips that day. I could tell the chips were not just something out of a bag, but they were something that you had cut and fried. That's something that impresses me so much, especially with a food truck. When you have limited space, you have limited time in a commissary kitchen to be doing all that stuff yourself. How important is that to you guys to not cut those corners, but to take the opportunity to say, if we can make it ourselves, we're doing that?
Right. Yeah, and I try my best. If I care about it, I'm going to do it myself. As we've grown since we've been at Trucks and Taps, I've sourced out. I've been buying pickles now instead of cutting them myself. Chips, we changed from doing chips and macaroni salad to just fries now, just so I can have my hands in something else. I always want to change the menu up. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, we're ever evolving. I've got chicken on the menu the last 2 weeks. I plan on making that a staple, staying on the menu. She's kind of wants me to do salads more, which I'm like, I don't know about all that, but it'll eventually creep on,
He has some good ones, obviously. But, I want everybody to be included in coming to our truck and being able to get something, whatever your diet is.
But yeah, I don't want to change that. I want to do everything that I can on the menu. If I can make it, I'm going to make it myself. That's what I care about more than anything. I don't want somebody to come up to the truck and see a bunch of, jalapeno popper pre-made boxes or something like that. Like I want to put a lot of care into what I do. So that's where I'm at with that.
Now, Sarah, I'm interested in your role here because you've had an entire career yourself. You've had a singing career. You've been in bands. You're now a manager and a producer. These are all jobs that require a lot of creativity too. Yeah. Obviously, Preston is very creative from the food side. How do you feel your creativity kind of plays into that, and you guys work together, play off each other, balance each other? How does that work?
Well, we're learning every day. No, I don't know. I mean, I actually don't know.
Or maybe it's more so on the other side, like where you said he's got hundreds of ideas, and you've got to rein him in a little bit and be like, "Hey,
she spends a lot of her time.
We're on a food truck. We need 8 to 10 menu items, not 80 to 100."
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest part of my job, really. Just, saying we can do all those things when we have a restaurant, babe, but we got a truck, No, I think the creativity side comes into just like little things. Like I like to have like cute little flowers, and I like to have things that like spark joy in people. I know that sounds so silly, but, I've spent all this time making this new menu board. Right. Like I'm getting these cute T-shirts done. Like all of these things that I want, I think just encompass like, just having fun with it too, and just having a creative outlet to do things that I've always wanted to do for a space, and so just doing it for the truck is fun. Yeah.
You mentioned a restaurant there. Is that the end goal, or is that still just kind of like everything else? It's just kind of. We'll play it by ear.
Don't tell anybody. But no,
it's okay. Kidding. We're not like recording.
No, we're not going to tell anybody. No, I think restaurant. I would really love a venue that he can do, incredible dinners out of, and I can have shows and the whole nine. But then park the truck out back, and do late night stuff out there. So I don't know. We'll get there, but yeah,
we're still figuring it out. I would, I think I might want to do some sort of breakfast restaurant, something small, and then try to sell out dinners, special dinners at night. Run the food truck as much as I can. It just
would be so great to have the ability to do both of those in a space that we love, I think, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, from what you said earlier, I think we have very similar breakfast philosophies, Preston, in that I don't eat breakfast probably 90% of the time.
Well,
but when I eat breakfast, I'm going ham. I'm going out. Yeah. We're getting eggs Benedict, or we're getting a giant plate of hash browns with cheese and sausage and chili all over the top of it.
Home. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me about what does breakfast or brunch look like at Nocturnal Eats if somebody's going to come out on a Sunday?
Well, you're always going to have, your hash browns, your big old crispy hash browns, choice of protein. I'll throw some of that roasted pork on there, ham. Bacon, sausage that I actually make myself.
The sausage is great.
Sausage is pretty decent. I'm not gonna.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty decent. I'm gonna start running chorizo as well that I'll make. Maybe even a little turkey sausage. I don't know yet. I don't want to make any promises. But the typical breakfast, there'll be breakfast burritos. I think I'll throw a couple of specialty burritos in there. Maybe something more barbecue-y. Something. I'm not doing omelets. People get a little crazy with omelets sometimes, but, our menu, it's ever-changing. I'll always have a burrito, a nice sandwich, your typical breakfast, and then I'll throw, like, chili killies on there, or, like I said, the St. Louis slider, the big old pile of slop with heavenly goodness on top.
Yeah.
I think that should be the menu description. Don't actually list out what's in there. Just say a big old pile of slop with heavenly goodness on top, and just see how many people trust you in order.
What? I think I could run with that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I'm headed. I would like to do a little more sweet treats, and she's actually like pushing me to do that. You know, the bread pudding, maybe do bread pudding French toast, which is something that I've ran before, which is very easy to do. I mean, I have bread, you know. I have
shout
eggs
out to Rotellas.
shout out Rotellas. Love the ciabatta. But yeah, do something a little more sweet. You know, my pancakes are pretty decent. They're probably about that thick, kind of rise up and use a little more baking powder than I should. But we will do Sundays every Sunday coming soon. We're kind of in talks with another establishment. They kind of want us to do football Sundays out there, but we're just trying to build our base up here at Trucks and Taps. You know, that was the first goal, is build up a base, make sure people come out. We don't really want to drive around as much anymore. Right. I don't want to drive around as much. There's a lot of crazy drivers, and it's a big old truck, man.
It's a big truck. And she's an old girl.
So old. Mm-hmm. We first bought the truck a year ago, or what? It's
2 years in July.
Yeah, late July or late 22, and I had never driven a diesel before. I didn't know anything about it. We bought it in San Antonio.
Well, in the outskirts of San Antonio. Not even
San Antonio.
Right.
There's more weeds than people.
Right. True.
And you know, we broke down like 2 or 3 times on the way here. Just driving, I'd stop to get gas, you know, stop the truck, fill up, go to start it up, and I'm, what's going on here? You know, and we're sitting there for an hour. Little did I know you're not supposed to, you know, turn the truck off when you fill up for gas in a diesel. Right. The engine's hot, and had no idea. You know, a nice day and a half drive turned into a 3-day drive because, you know, didn't do my research. But, you know, we got that truck and just did whatever we could, you know, tried our best. There's a lot of things that go into the food truck that I didn't expect. You know, I had a fryer blow up in my face, and I think I've went through 4 fryers since then.
Shoot.
Just replacing them. Just plumbing and all type of stuff, man. And I didn't have a fryer for the first month, I think, month and a half. We were at Trucks and Taps, so it was just trying to, okay, what do I serve with a burger? I guess macaroni salad. Does that sound great? And apparently it went well.
I love that
you know, I
still
get a lot of people asking about it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm gonna do that again.
I don't like macaroni salad, and I loved yours.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you served it that first time I came in, I was like, man, Mac salad.
Right?
Okay,
I've seen some of the looks. Yeah.
But then I tried it, and I was like, damn, Grandma doesn't make mac salad like this.
Right. Yeah, I don't like macaroni salad either.
He doesn't.
You know, that's the one edible kind that I like.
I love it.
It's really funny. I've got a lot of people that, when we first was there, they'd be like, macaroni salad, just give me nothing. All right. Well, give me the macaroni salad. And I'll give them the macaroni salad. Then an hour later, I'm on Facebook, and I'm getting notifications. This is the best macaroni salad I've ever had. What? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so take me back a little bit further. Before you got the truck even, you guys meet in Denver at a restaurant.
Oh, jeez.
How did your paths cross? How did you come together, and then how did you end up in Omaha, of all places?
All right, I'll take it. Okay. Well, he was from St. Louis, but he went to Denver for comedy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but he went on tour as a stand-up comedian for a long time and ended up in Denver. And I went to Denver for the band to perform out there. So we were both doing our side gigs, you know. And then chef jobs became his full-time gig, and bartending and serving and, you know, all of that, managing bars and stuff was then mine, plus singing. So we were just kind of in the same industry. Our friends were in the same industry. And then I don't know. I mean, you just couldn't stay away, or what? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe that was me. No, but we have a lot of fun together, and I think creatively, we have a lot of ideas that we're able to bounce back and forth from being in all sorts of the kind of service industry and entertainment industry. They kind of coincide, I think, and so I think maybe that's kind of where all of these ideas originally came from, was through that connection. And then I actually moved back I'm from Papillion. I actually moved back to Papillion. My niece was born. So I came out here, I don't know, 2018, 17, I don't know anymore. But then he showed up then a few years later, and then here we are. So, I guess a couple years later. So
yeah, I think I got here late 2020.
Yeah.
The pandemic was going on, and
right.
My lease was up where I was at. We had been talking about getting together, and came here and trying to build something big.
What better time to move 8 hours than in the middle of a global pandemic?
Exactly. Yeah. But it worked out, and I think you worked at a few places here that I think we've kind of built a crew of people in the industry that we all,
Yeah, my first job when I moved here was with Jackson Street Tavern, and, that's like my family now.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Ross and all those guys. Moved on to M's Pub. I was a sous chef at M's Pub for quite some time, and then it was just like, yo, it's your
now
time.
Like,
it's now or never. I'm almost 40. I don't want my body to break down on me. We got that truck, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is that an okay answer? I don't know. I feel like we go around the bush a little here.
That was an amazing answer.
Okay.
That was
all right.
exactly what I wanted to hear. But so you're working at other places. You're starting to feel a little antsy. Like, if I'm gonna do something on my own, this is probably the time to do it, or I'm just going to be working for other people.
Well, I think what it was, I was working at a restaurant, and during the pandemic, the staff, not a lot of people were working in restaurants. It was really hard to find help, and I was basically doing everything. I was at a hotel. I was the chef. I was the bartender. I was the server. I helped out at the front desk. I was the food and beverage manager, And I'm like, if I'm already doing all this, why don't I just do it myself? And that bug kind of bit her, and she's just on the internet scouring for hours looking at food trucks. Hey, we should go to Indianapolis and buy this electric food truck.
Okay, you don't have to tell them all that. I was going down a rabbit hole. You're right.
And then we kind of honed in on one that was in San Antonio. It looked all right. Mileage was okay, and so we jumped on it, and, we're learning. We're learning for sure. I know a lot about cooking. I know that's pretty much all I've ever done my whole life, and it's so much more than that,
Yeah.
But I think we made the right decision, for sure.
Well, tell me, when you say it's so much more than cooking, tell me about that. Because I think that's what a lot of people would think, is just, if you're a restaurant owner or, a food truck owner in your case, it's 90% about the food, and it's about, cooking and making sure the food is good, coming up with specials, having fun with that. But being a business owner is so much more than that. So tell me a little bit more about some of the things that you had to learn just aside from the food.
Well, just like I said, the whole fryer experience. I bought
just
4 or 5 different
general
fryers, and this one worked, then it blew up in my face, and this one, it's got the wrong. Just trying to teach yourself, how to be a plumber, how to be an electrician, how to I've never worked with electricity before, and I installed 2 different water pumps.
A lot of YouTube videos. Yeah. A lot of YouTube videos. Yeah.
Just the stress of, oh man, I did $200 in sales today. I got to pay rent next week. Right. I really want to, just those downfalls. And then just figuring out taxes.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother obstacle right there.
But that's the business side that we don't really, obviously we didn't want to do any of that. I want to give people a full experience, you're coming to a food truck. I understand that we don't have an actual brick and mortar, but I have a fun experience for you and all of those things. So that's kind of what we mean with, it's more than that. It's more than, it's more than learning about taxes. It's more than that kind of stuff. It's creating a place where people can come and like feel good,
that's the most important part.
And just have some good.
I can make the best food in the world, but if you walk up to the truck and it's just dusty and looks bad, you probably won't want to eat there. But, she'll throw flowers out there and balloons, and it's kind of like a big welcome center.
Right. Just, giving people a little experience of like what he cares so much about and things like that, I think is why we love it, right? Meeting people and the whole experience. I mean, running out of gas on the way back, that wasn't fun. But what is fun is people coming back to the truck and being like, whoa, that was the best. That was seriously the best burger I've ever had. And I always say, no, quit. Yeah. And they're like, no, that was the best. That was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, he is incredible. So sharing those things, I think, is really great and fun. And I don't know. I don't have any other words to describe right now for some reason. But, yeah.
Where was your first service?
Forever on the truck?
Yeah. First time on the truck.
Is that Noma?
Yeah, I think it was Noma. Yeah, I think it was January 17th, and it was cold.
Oh, man.
It was cold. Yeah.
Tell me, what do you remember most about that day? As you guys are reminiscing, like I can see it in your eyes, you're going back in time to that day. What's popping to the front of your brain?
Oh, man.
Other than the temperature. Or you can tell me about the temperature.
Yeah,
I'd say probably the giddiness we had before, like on our way there, just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, the first time we created this reality.
We're about to do this.
Yeah.
Say that was probably the funnest part.
I agree.
It's the most memorable part.
Yeah, it was awfully cold though.
Yeah,
awfully cold. Yeah, but that was fun.
Yeah. What was the reaction by people? Like, was it a big turnout? Did you get good comments from people?
You got great comments, and they're just enthusiastically in my face. Yo, you're gonna be here next week.
Right.
What about tomorrow? Could you come out tomorrow? that put a big old smile on my face. Made me feel like, I could do this. I could actually do this.
Now, you mentioned you've been cooking for most of your life, most of your career, but not on a food truck, and that's a totally different style of service in so many different ways. What are some of the most important things, both of you, that you think you learned in those early months about food truck life versus just working in a restaurant, a bar, whatever it might be?
Dressing light. It's really hot in there.
Oh, it's warm.
Just dressing light. Paying attention.
That's it. No, I'm just kidding.
Paying attention to the gas. Your propane.
Oh yeah.
Just your essentials. What else?
Food costs. I mean, everything. There's so many. We learned so many things.
Keep a menu that is small and manageable, but is still, a little flamboyant. Like, yo, we're here.
Right. And interchangeable too. Like using things.
Yeah, exactly. I use my pork for 2 or 3 different dishes. Burgers, of course, but ham goes in a couple different dishes.
Because in the beginning you had like 10 meats. It was something crazy, and I said, let's scale back just a few.
Catfish and cod and pork tenderloins and burgers and chickens and what am I doing, man?
Yeah, so we really learned that.
Like it
we
sounded
can
really
it back.
And we weren't as crazy busy as we are now.
No,
before I would
weren't.
maybe feed 30 people, so it was a little more manageable to do other things, but now it's like, okay, burgers. No, just burgers. Just you can top them however you want, but let's just be a little smaller in what we do. Not everything has to be gigantic.
I mean, kind of.
It's
fun. It's more fun. The Norris burger is huge.
Oh yeah.
The Good Groceries burger is huge.
Oh my gosh.
It's so big.
Yeah.
But
So the Good Groceries. if I don't remember everything, correct me. But it was the burger patty itself, which is not small. I'm guessing at least 8 ounces.
It's like 5.5.
Yeah,
really?
Dang,
I
think it's because the pork.
Right.
And then there's
a ton of
several
pork.
pieces of Gouda.
There's bacon. There's Gouda.
Yeah.
The Rotella's bun. I mean, when I took that thing out of the package, I was like, okay, this is a nap time burger right here.
Right. Give you the meat sweats.
Yeah.
No. It is a great burger. Yeah.
Yeah. The burgers, and I try to keep them wrapped up. They're a little more easier to eat if they're wrapped up.
Right.
But yeah, we've went through a lot of trials and tribulations with those burgers. You know, the Cuban, I started there at Noma just because I wanted a Cuban.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just kind of a one-off sandwich that she was on my back constantly about, do the Cuban. And that's, you know, ever evolved too. I was doing it one way, I'm doing it differently now.
I don't even like Cubans, and I thought that yours was incredible. So that's why I was like, you need to share with the folks.
Right.
Thank you for being the inspiration and getting him to share, because now we benefit.
There you go.
Right.
That's nice. But yeah.
Thanks, Rah-Rah.
That's what my niece calls me. What else?
I'm trying out these different chicken. One thing that I really like to do more than the cooking is just name all the burgers and sandwiches.
That's
that
another
I have.
creative
That's my
thing.
favorite thing to do.
Yeah,
is name things, because I could pay homage to different restaurants or clubs that I partied at as a child or family members.
As a child.
Who's letting you in?
I grew up. My dad was, you know, kind of a line cook. He worked at quite a few different bars and restaurants in St. Louis, and you know, dragged me along as a kid. Try this, boy.
And then had his own business, and you were cooking.
Yeah, my dad had me barbecuing at a very young age. We're selling street meat, is what he liked to call it.
Street meat.
Selling ribs and pulled pork out on the riverfront in St. Louis as a kid. I think that's kind of was my first job. That was definitely I mean, I didn't get paid for it, but he let me eat.
So I'm curious about that, because I feel like usually when someone is exposed to cooking or serving at a very early age, like if they work in their parents' restaurant or something along those lines,
it makes you not want to do it. Right?
I was going to say, they go in one or two directions. They either love it and they're like, this is my life, this is all I know, this is what I'm doing, or they say, right. I see how hard it is. I see how little money there can be in it. I'm doing anything else.
Oh, man.
So what made you go this direction and steer into it?
I tried so many other things, but it kept drawing me back, you know? And that's one of my favorite things is, you know, just hanging out. Some of my favorite memories as a kid is, you know, being around your family. My grandmother cooks everything, and everything is so great, and my auntie might come over with some potato salad, and she's like, "Throw that away. That is not going next to my next to my ham." Or, you know, my dad cooking and just big smiles around the family, big meals. You know, that always drew me back. That, and I'd say the movie Ratatouille really made me want to cook.
I'm not gonna lie, that's
probably my
movie,
favorite.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, that's
he's a
the
cute
best
little
cooking
guy.
movie out there.
Is it?
But yeah, I figured I'd always be a cook. You know, even when I wasn't cooking, I'd go home and I want to practice this dish, or I go out to eat and I'd have some, and I'm like, I could do that. Let me go home and try to recreate it as best as I can, you know?
Okay, so I'm very interested in your obsession with naming things. so you got to take me through a couple things on the menu now. I mean, we've mentioned the Good Groceries. We've mentioned, or you briefly mentioned the Norris. You've got a burger called the Vader.
Truck Norris.
Yeah.
That just
take me into one or two of those. Whichever one has the best
Truck
story.
Norris. I wanted to do a Western burger, and I didn't want to just do a Western burger. I wanted to do something that, you know, kicks butt. You know, and I remember watching Chuck Norris as a kid, so Truck Norris. The Vader. A lot of people don't like spicy things. They're afraid of jalapenos. And so I figured out a good way to get somebody who doesn't really like jalapenos to try them is put them on this burger, put like a really sweet red bell pepper aioli on there. So it's not crazy hot. It's nice contrast between the two flavors. So it's kind of like bringing them over to the dark side.
Oh,
like
nice. There you go.
Codfather.
that just goes without saying, yeah.
What else do I have on there? The West Coast Club, you know, guacamole pico on a sandwich is kind of California style, so I like the West Coast. I was going to name it after a rapper, but I didn't want to just choose one rapper. What else do I have on there?
I mean,
the Good Groceries. Yeah. Her dad, that's, you know, something that he says all the time is Good Groceries. We'd have a dinner, I'd cook a dinner or whatnot, he'd eat it. He'd be like, Good Groceries, everybody. Good
really?
Groceries.
Yeah, he's been saying that for years with his his best college buddy. So it's kind of an ode to my dad and PJ.
His dad doesn't.
My dad.
Her dad doesn't eat
no
vegetables.
Veggies. Yeah, no
doesn't
veggies.
Really eat a lot of things. So I wanted to make a burger just for him.
Yeah.
So
that's his.
Call it Good Groceries. Orders it every time he comes out.
He sure does.
Smart man.
Yeah. Unless we have wings,
and
then he'll get wings. But he's a Good Groceries dude for life. Yeah.
Okay. Other than the service where the fryer blew up in your face, because I'm assuming that one was really memorable. I want to hear about the craziest service that you guys have had. This could be something wild that happened on the truck. It was just a line of 30 people for hours. Man. Like, what was the craziest service?
I try to block those out, Dan. No, I'm just joking.
Just a couple weeks ago, it was, I mean, I want to say last Saturday, but it's just been building up and up and up.
The word's getting out, man.
I think that's from you, Dan.
I'll look my head out the window and there's 12 people in line. I'm like, okay, I'm going to knock this out real quick. And I cook all the food. I look up, now there's 30 people. What is happening?
Right.
And I look at her, I'm like, hey, I've only got like 60 burgers left. Please keep
and
counting.
I'm like, okay, I'm trying to keep track. No, I'm just kidding.
That's one of the craziest shifts.
Well, and everything is just like, you want people to have a quick experience, but at the same time, I don't want to rush anything. I want the boxes to be cute. I want everything to look nice. So when you get in the weeds, and then when you're in the weeds, things can get really chaotic, and we're banging into each other, and we're trying to go the same way, and that gets a little wild. I mean, one time, remember when the fryer flipped over on the way to the gig? The fryer flipped, and there was oil everywhere, and I think I only had I don't know, five towels on there and a couple things of paper towels.
Yeah,
so
we're just throwing cardboard boxes.
That was
to-go boxes on the ground.
Just things like that you just don't even expect, to happen. Oh,
yeah.
God, what else has happened? I don't even know.
I mean, we get through it.
We get through it. We might not talk for about an hour afterwards, but no, I'm just kidding. But what else? I mean, just being really busy is kind of like, you're like, what just happened? Because you go into an autopilot.
Yeah, there's a few times where we've been out at different breweries, or we did a couple liquor stores, but we're kind of parked on a slant, and so one of the burgers I have is a hangover helper. And it gets an egg on it, so I'll toss an egg on a flat top and it just slides all the way down. I'm like, oh, man, just lost that egg. Got to pay attention.
Right. And then we're just slipping and sliding. The mats are slipping because we're this way. And
yeah. Those are probably the craziest. We haven't had anything explode yet, other than the fire the one time.
Yeah.
And that wasn't too bad. I just lost a couple eyebrows.
Yeah, a little singe.
They grew back well. Yeah. They look great right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A little Just for Men on there.
Really? No.
The secrets here. So, what is that balance as a food truck owner? Because I'm sure, you obviously want to be busy. And when you see a big line of people, it's like, heck yeah, we're doing something right here.
Right.
Everybody wants a piece of this. But on the other side, it's like, there's 30 people in line.
Right.
I got to feed all those people.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time I feed those people, there will be another 30 people. So, what is that balance between, yes, this is awesome, but also, my anxiety is
pumping.
Anxiety is pumping. And we love it. We definitely love it. We want to feed everybody in Omaha. Maybe not at the same time, but, and when we get those big lines, it's just we're going to do our best. We'll let everybody know in line, hey, it'll be maybe 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes, or maybe it might be 20 minutes, just
but he's the only one cooking, and everything is there's no burger that's already been made and it's going back on the grill. That's not happening. Everything is, you order a Norse, we're making it right then and there. The fries are getting made right then and there. So yes.
We try to put out the best product that we can.
Right.
We try to make it look very well, regardless of how many people are in line or how long it takes. I'd rather do it right once than speed up and, I forgot to put a burger on that burger or something,
You just got a pulled pork sandwich with bacon. Not Good Groceries. That'd still be pretty good.
Well, I mean, I'd eat it.
Wow.
But I think, the lines get a little intense, like you said, but we enjoy it and we appreciate it. very much are thankful for people that choose to eat at our truck and choose to come back. And so,
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It is hard to get your name out there and like get established, especially in a place like Omaha that has so many restaurants and really a lot of food trucks now.
Yep.
How did you guys do that, and what has it been like, especially, you've kind of mentioned these last couple months you've started to see more and more business start to generate, like what has that been like for you?
Man, it's been exciting, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
When we first got to Trucks and Taps, it was pretty slow for us, and a lot of it had to do with it being 40 degrees and 50 degrees outside, but we're relatively new this year. We were out last year, but we didn't have any social media presence. We didn't have a regular spot that we went to. And, now that we're growing, it's like, man, I'm actually doing something. I was working so hard, I strained my back. I pulled something in my back, and we had to close down for lunch, and Trucks and Taps put out on Facebook, hey, we've got an injured chef. Nocturnal Eats will be closed today, but they should be open for dinner. And I got so many phone calls.
Oh, my gosh. My phone blew up. Is he okay? What's going on?
My mom texted me and was like, hey, do you need your mommy? Like, I kind of do. But, and just that feedback, just, me being hurt and people actually caring, like that made me, I want to do more now. Like, okay, I've been holding back. Let me try these other sandwiches, or let's do some real dinners, and I'm very thankful for that. And so I want to try my best to do whatever it is Omaha needs, food scene wise. You guys, want a great seafood? I'll try. There you go. If I can get it, I'll put it out there.
Okay, so with this last question, I'm gonna just open it up, and you guys can take it in any direction that you want to. And I think there might not be a great answer to it at the moment, because we've talked about, you guys just kind of go with the flow, and you try stuff and you see what works. But right now, as you look at the future of Nocturnal Eats and you think about what we want this truck to be, what we potentially want the restaurant to be, ways down the line, whatever it might be, what do you see as the future of Nocturnal Eats?
That restaurant that you go to for celebration.
Okay.
That restaurant you go to
for big life events.
Yeah.
Yeah. For fun memories.
Yeah.
We just want to create a space where everybody's welcome all the time, has a great time, great memories. I think that can go in a lot of different ways. So who knows how that ends up, at the end of this. But, creating a fun experience, like I've said probably a million times already. But, I think the end goal is, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the ceiling is, and that's exciting. And we very much appreciate you taking the time to share our stuff. I mean,
of course, you deserve it.
No, I'm serious, Dan. That I can't tell you how many people have come up and said, we saw it on Dan's, we had to have it. And I just think, how cool is that those people really take what you say to heart and follow it, and they show up. They show up.
I find it as wild as you do. That anyone cares what I think.
Well, I think it's really cool, and it means a lot to us because, having our friends and family come up there, they have supported us so much. And so when other people that aren't like in our immediate circle are doing that for us, that just feels like, whoa, that is so kind. Really, and so we appreciate it more than you know.
Well, it's all genuine because,
thanks.
Yes, you've talked about creating a fun time. Nocturnal Eats is a fun time.
Oh, hey.
Especially now that you guys are at Trucks and Taps, because somebody can come and get a drink. But even if you guys are parked somewhere else, you come up, Sarah, you're at the window. Yeah. You are so friendly. You're outgoing and engaging. So immediately somebody is engaged there. Then there's the menu. That's fun. There's all kinds of cool stuff going.
That's fun.
Then you get your meal and you eat, and you're just like, when is the next time I can come back and get this again? Because it's so good. So this is my plug. I mean, I've given several plugs already, but people, Nocturnal Eats, if you've been here, If you haven't been here yet, this is your opportunity. Get it on your radar. Go get a burger. You will be sold, or get the Market Street Philly.
Yes.
Get the Cubano. Like,
try one of our specials.
There are wing nights. Go for breakfast.
Yes.
I mean, that's the cool thing is like you could show up to Nocturnal Eats and they could be trying out something new that night. It might be a fish sandwich. It might be the West Coast Club. It could be whatever. That's awesome. Yeah. So go check out Nocturnal Eats. Preston and Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today. This was so fun to hear like stories and like I got a burger vacation. Like I got new vocabulary today. A burger takes you on a vacation. So this has just been excellent. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Dan. We appreciate it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Omaha.
Yeah, please come out and see us.
Yes, please come out and see them.
Trucks and Taps. It's a fun spot. We'd love to have you.
As always, thanks for eating with us.